So my approach is always like what, not the what, but the why. What happened? Why is this person and this particular person, not 10 people with the same issue, but this particular person in front of me, what are they going through? Why do they have this issue? For me, I always look at lifestyle, but most importantly, gut health. Gut is like the reverse of the skin, in my opinion. So what is going on in the gut would always show up on the skin.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on another incredible episode of Bioenergetics Beat. I'm Heather Gray, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and certified bioenergetic practitioner, and today is brought to you by Nikki, Unleash the Wellness Within. It's a non-invasive, easily affordable, and highly effective approach to optimize wellness. It's a wearable device that puts frequency-based better life in your hands and on your wrist. You're going to want to make sure to stick to the very end because, as usual, we have an incredible giveaway you're not going to want to miss out on. But you're not going to want to miss out on one word my next guest has to say, because we're going to be talking about something that's very near and dear to my heart, especially as a 47-year-old woman with, aging skin. And, and it's how do we take care of our skin without all the harsh chemicals and the toxins that are out there that we're so used to, the stats of how many chemicals a woman puts on her body daily, before 10 a.m. is absolutely staggering, and we've got to stop this. And so I love that we're having this conversation, because it's not just having to do with vanity and looking younger. It's our skin is our largest organ, and we want to take care of it and make sure we're not putting excess toxins in it. So without further ado, let's welcome, and I'm hoping Sururat Coulibaly. But she's going to say it much better because my tongue just doesn't work that way. But let's welcome her to the show. Yay! So tell everybody how to pronounce your beautiful name.
It's Sururat Coulibaly.
Coulibaly. It's so beautiful. And just so different than us silly Americans are able to pronounce sometimes. So you poor thing, you probably have to deal with this all the time.
I'm used to it. It's not a problem at
all. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how did you get started talking about skincare, and why should we care?
So my skincare story actually started when I was around 12 years old, 11 to 12 years old. I developed red, itchy, scaly rash that kept me up at night. And I dealt with this for years into my college life. And that got me really, really interested into skin. I was told it's normal, it's genetic, it's a family history, deal with it. And I just slattered on medication for years. And then finally I decided that was enough. Something has to change. So I started looking into what else could be happening. I became more aware of my triggers, and I decided to change my lifestyle. And lo and behold, I haven't had a flare up in over 25 years.
Your skin is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I'm shocked that you had an itchy rash that kept you up at night.
Yes,
And to
I
be a
did.
teenager with that on your face, like, I imagine that had some huge, like, self-esteem issues back then.
Huge, very lack of self-confidence, low self-esteem, didn't want to show my skin. Especially was on my neck at that time, and I was young, so I wasn't covering up. And I started covering up very early because I didn't want my neck to show. And then my mom would tell me to go back and wash because she thought I was dirty. So I kept scrubbing, which actually made it worse, that I found out later on. But along the way, I kind of got really interested in skin because I was like, what is the skin all about? And lo and behold, I became a biochemist, worked in biotech for a few years, and then decided to go back to medical school. And I knew during my rotation that I wanted to go into skin. I've always loved skin. One of my first books I bought for myself was The Systemic Science of on the Skin, like how those things that happen inside show up on the skin, because I realized that the skin is actually the window to the internal health. And lo and behold, I got into dermatology, and I loved it. Along the way, I met actually a patient that came in with a systemic issue, really bad inflammatory skin condition. And I asked him, I said, how are you doing? Just based on history, he had no active lesions. And he said, I'm fine. I'm like, what do you mean you're fine? He said, because I did some things, stopped eating certain things based on what my ND told me, naturopathic doctor told him. And I was floored because I thought my ability to get rid of my flare-ups was just me, was just a fluke. And I realized it wasn't. There was actually something behind this. Then I got into studying, and I landed in functional medicine.
I
That's my,
love it because it's so common, well, especially with dermatologists. They're no different, unfortunately, than, Western med folks. Here's
yeah,
a prescription, right? Not
yeah,
trying to figure out what the root cause is.
yeah.
And there's a lot of really good naturopathic doctors and Chinese medicine, a lot of ancient, more holistic medicines that will look at your face, look at your tongue, look at your
Hmm.
eyes, right? To help
Yes.
see what's going on inside the body. So this is so great that you're a medical doctor that gets that there's a functional approach to skincare. So that's so exciting.
Actually, I'm a PA.
Okay, okay. Oh, physician assistant. Got it, got it,
Yeah.
got it. That's still so ridiculously impressive. So this is a great spot. We're gonna actually pause real quick, and when we come back, I want to dive deeper into the nuts and bolts of like what it actually takes to help reverse some of these things. What are some of the lifestyle things that you found? So
Hmm.
what are the alternative fixes? Like the title today is Creams to Clarity, how you help women heal their skin without harsh fixes. So I really want to dive deeper into that. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. She's going to drop some beautiful nuggets on us that I can't wait to hear.
There's a new word for wellness, Nikki. Nikki is your personal wellness companion, a sleek, wearable device that lets you choose from a variety of programs to match your day. With a simple tap on the Nikki screen, you can explore wellness programs created for different moments and lifestyles. Need a lift? Select energy. Looking to unwind? Tap stress and anxiety. Want to feel more at ease? Choose pain. Heading out on a trip? Try travel to help you feel ready for new adventures. From busy mornings to quiet evenings, Nikki puts a variety of wellness experiences right at your fingertips and on your wrist. Life moves fast. Nikki moves with you. It's a portable way to bring wellness technology into your everyday routine, wherever life takes you. Your day, your choice, your wellness program. Nikki Wellness Technology. Delivering frequency enhanced health. We are Nikki.com.
Awesome. Welcome back. So yay, are you excited as I am? I mean, it's so funny too, because when you know this stuff, you can't turn it off. So when I see people walking around with cystic acne or eczema, psoriasis, like anything skin related, I'm like, we need to, fix, look at the liver and we need to look at this and we need to look at that. And a lot of times they look at me like I've got two heads. So let's yeah, tell us a little bit about your approach, my dear.
So my approach is always, always like what, not the what, but the why. What happened? Why is this person and this particular person, not 10 people with the same issue, but this particular person in front of me, what are they going through? Why do they have this issue? For me, I always look at lifestyle, but most importantly, gut health. Gut is like the reverse of the skin, in my opinion. So, what is going on in the gut would always show up on the skin. So, I look at the gut health. I ask questions, like extensive questionnaire about how is your bowel movement? Are you bloated? Do you get gassy sometimes? Actually, to the point where does it smell or does it not smell? How often do you have a bowel movement? That kind of gives me an idea of what's going on in the terrain of the gut. Because if the gut is not doing what it needs to do, every part of the body is dysfunctional. It's not getting enough nutrients, your hormone is not balanced. So we start with that. But before that, or along with that, we talk about lifestyle. Why lifestyle? Because an example is sleep. Sleep actually is like your reset for your skin. If you're not sleeping enough, sufficiently deep sleep, the repair aspect of your health is not working right. So you're basically just going through life without a reset button. So I call sleep the reset button that we all need. But with not just 3 hours of sleep, not just light sleep, but full, deep, restful sleep is very important for the skin. So I work on that. I work on hydration. If you're dehydrated, I've seen people that come in and I'm like, oh, I'm old. I'm like, no, you're not. You're dehydrated. Your skin is dry. Your inside is dry. So we work on hydration as much as possible. It takes time. It's not something that happens overnight because we're so used to the default, and now going back to the optimal takes time, and we just do it gently. So hydration, nutrition, watching what you put on your skin, and that's what my topic comes about. Harsh creams. what is in your cream? Most of us, including myself, for years, I never even read the label. Oh yeah, I want this. Oh, they said this. It's good for your skin. It moisturizes. I pick it up
The
and I put
woman
it
in the
on.
commercial has beautiful skin. It must work.
Yeah, no, not really. Because think about it. This is you. This is like my skin. I have 3 kids, and each one of us have different skin. So our skin type is a little bit different. Some people are drier, some people are more, acne prone, some people have more rough skin. So you have to get the powder that fits your skin. But first thing you do is get rid of all the stuff that shouldn't be there. The parabens, the phthalates, the formaldehyde, the DMDM, all those things that should not be in your skin product. Why are they there? That was my first question when I had my issues. Like, why do I have all the stuff that I know I learned in biochemistry in my skin product? What is it doing to my skin? Is it helping or is it harming? And I started to eliminate. So you're looking at your products, you're looking at hydration, you're looking at your gut health, your bowel movement, because your bowel movement also tells you about your liver to some extent. If you're detoxing everything out, great. If you're not, it's coming out of the skin. So sometimes when you see people coming up with different things in their skin, it's because they're not detoxing, and the skin is also a detox pathway. So if the liver is not able to do its job fully, guess what? It's going to show up on the skin.
I love talking about poop, and if your dermatologist isn't asking you about your daily bowel movements, maybe you should run and find a new dermatologist because this is all connected. And the sad part is when a dermatologist is adding a prescription or another cream to somebody who's already constipated and already toxic, they're just adding to the toxic burden on this person already. So a lot of times it'll make things worse, right?
Yeah, a lot of times, definitely.
Oh my gosh. So, how long, because I know a lot of people they want that quick fix, right? But
Yes,
you said that you had these skin issues from the time you were young till clear into college.
yes.
Realistically, what are you looking at when it comes to churning things around?
I mean, realistically, you can get a turnaround in months, even in weeks. At least you can start seeing improvement in weeks. But it depends on the willingness of that person to take the lifestyle modification that they need to do. I have a program where I do for 10 weeks, and I've seen people turn around in 10 weeks, in 6 weeks, because we're supporting them. And here's the key. When you're doing one thing at a time, like how people that come and say, but I go to the gym and I work out. Like, yeah, how much do you work out? Well, 6 days a week. How many hours? 2 hours. I'm like, but actually you're making the problem worse. So it's actually what you're doing at the same time. So if you're doing the hydration and you're having regular bowel movement and gut health is being, improved on a regular basis, the skin will start showing up almost immediately. To get full revision or remission of what's going on, it's actually not only to continue the lifestyle changes and continue to dietary changes, but to stay on it. Because the moment you go back to your old self, the body has memory and it keeps scores. It comes right back. So it's not only, my goal is to help you understand it and keep it sustainable for the rest of your life.
Thank you for that. If I had a dime for every client I worked with that said, when can I go back to eating blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, never. Like, do you want to go back to your old issues? Like, a lot of times, this is what caused the problem to begin with. You can't. There is no going back, only forward. Have you found that there are foods out there that are more inflammatory and cause more of these issues than others?
Yeah, actually, gluten is one of them. And what I've noticed with gluten is, actually, I was talking to my son about this yesterday, is that there's different levels of gluten issues, and also depending on when you grew up or where you eat or where you live. So when I traveled to Europe, I noticed that I was able to eat certain things like the bread there compared to here. But what I noticed over time is even the one in Europe started to give me issues because there's mimicry. The body keeps scores, as I said earlier, so it knows the structure of the gluten I had here and the gluten I was having in Europe, and it was like, oh, wow, this is very similar. We didn't like this. Now let's go ahead and attack it. So some people have, like I have sensitivity to gluten. I don't have celiac. I don't have autoimmune. But I always think to myself, if I have sensitivity right now, how long before I become autoimmune to it? So for me, that's one of the foods that I don't consume, and I try to advise my clients to stay away from it, even if it's just for a short period of time. The other one is dairy. Dairy has a lot of components why it's not the best for us, especially when it's skimmed and chemicalized and overprocessed, then becomes an issue because when they add something to it, what are they adding and how is it taken away from actually the reason why we drink milk, or why a lot of people drink milk, is to give them to get some protein, to get some nutrients. But a lot of times, all the nutrients have been taken off and other things have been put in. So now they have inflammatory skin issues from that. There has a hormone that actually augments. So there's hormonal issue from that. So those are the main two things that I say stay away from. Sometimes I'm very careful with grains, not because grains are bad for you or all grains are bad for you, but because sometimes there's mimicry. Then there's also alcohol, because that affects the liver, and I'm not sure what the nutrients components are for that. So smoking is one of those things also that actually ages our skin, not just causes inflammatory skin condition, but also ages it. Like cooking, the advanced glycation end products, when you overcook your food or you char your food or you burn your food, that also accumulates and causes inflammation in the body.
Absolutely. Going back to dairy too, most people don't realize that when we pasteurize, so dairy itself, raw dairy comes with all the components we need to
Mm-hmm.
help break it down. When we pasteurize it, we kill everything, including those things that help us break it down. And now we've got a bunch of dead, denatured proteins, which causes inflammation. Our body's like, what is this? I don't know what
Yeah.
to do with this. So I tell people if they absolutely have to have dairy, that they find raw when they can.
Yes. Yes.
Personally, I have to stay away from it because it's just in my genetics. I've done enough genetic testing to know that I just don't have the genes to break it down properly. So
Mhm.
I'm the same way. I moved to Mexico really and lately, and I've allowed corn in here because they don't allow GMOs here.
Mm-hmm.
But gluten and dairy are just like two things that I just don't fool around with. So
Yeah. The problem with dairy also is that majority of us, by the time we're 2 years old, we cannot digest it. Majority. And so, because we're no longer infants, so we don't need it anymore. So my teacher always says that the cow did not make the milk for us; it made it for its baby.
absolutely. And we're the only mammals that continues to drink milk into adulthood. Like, if we just look at how nature designed things and go with the flow of nature, but it's too simple. It's too
Yes.
simple. It's not
Yeah.
sexy.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
Too simple.
Too simple. Yeah. So that's lovely. What else did we talk about? So the grains. Hard to break down, some molecular mimicry. What are other things that you find that are, problematic? I know alcohol was one that makes everybody groan.
Yeah.
And I had quit drinking for a while because of brain inflammation stuff.
Mm.
And then, of course, I moved to Mexico and they have tequila and mezcal, and it's so delicious. And I was noticing some issues coming back, like you were with the bread, right? And so
Yeah.
I had to give up alcohol again. And it's amazing how fresh my face looks again, how restful my sleep is, like all the things, because it really is very hard on us to break down.
It is. It is. So other things I look at when it comes to food, I think there's one thing that we talk about is not just the food that you actually consume, is how you consume it. So you can have organic, healthy, no pesticides, no herbicides, maybe garden your own from your own garden. But if you don't chew the food properly, you're not getting the benefits of the food. And actually, it's causing more problems. And I always say, at least that's my analogy, it's like having a refrigerator full of food and it's just sitting there going bad and you don't take it out and throw it out. That's just how it is when you don't chew your food and you just swallow it, because the stomach does not have teeth. So the teeth in your mouth actually has a function, which is to masticate, to break down the food, chew it all the way down. So when it gets into the stomach, the enzymes in the stomach can do it, sorry, the acid in the stomach can do its job and further break it down. And also the acid doesn't only just do that, it gets rid of bad guys that come in with the food. So when we're not chewing, when we don't have enough acid, that becomes problematic to our skin.
Ew, I didn't think about the whole, parasite or bacteria problem, so if our stomach is being overloaded with a bunch of unchewed food, it's going to probably weaken the acid to then protect us from
Hmm.
certain cooties. So,
Yes.
oh, that's brilliant. So, yeah. Mindful eating is another thing I always work with my clients because we, again, eating in front of the computer, eating on the go, we just grab food here and we don't take the time to
Yep.
sit. And there's a whole process, right? Like even thinking about the food right now, my mouth is starting to create saliva,
Yes.
so there's a process that goes on from seeing the food, being with the food to help, support our whole body to take food. to where when you're just like stressed out on the go, and you shovel food in, your gut's like, what the hell is this?
Exactly. Yeah.
So tell us some of the stuff that you do use topically on the skin. We've talked about lifestyle and stuff that we do internally. What can we do topically?
So topically, my philosophy is if you can put it in your mouth, put it on your skin. And that's a little bit hard sometimes because not everyone like me that I like to make products, not everyone has the time to do that. Then I say use either EWG app or the the other apps that they have, Skin Deep app, to check your products. And then you can also look at the labels. Sometimes they make them so small, like literally I had to take out my magnifying glass or take my phone out and take a picture and read the ingredients. So the first thing I did years ago was I didn't know what paraben was. So I read about paraben. I was like, why do I need paraben on my skin? So paraben was out. The next one was sodium lauryl sulfate. I'm like,
Well, wait. Tell us a little bit more about parabens.
so parabens tend to, first of all, they affect the barrier, the skin barrier. They don't put, as we have the gut microbiome, we have the skin microbiome. And we want them to stay that way because it protects us from the outside world. So parabens and some of the chemicals tend to degrade the microbiome of the skin and causes also have more inflammation. And so that's one reason why I avoid it. Some people are saying it's carcinogenic, some people are saying it's not. So the jury is out on that. But regardless, for me, it's like, what do I need it for on my skin? If it's not adding more, then I don't need it. Because now it's adding more to help my skin, then it's adding more to harm my skin. That's why I take away parabens.
Awesome. Yes, now tell us about the SLSs.
The SLS is sodium lauryl sulfate, which, from my understanding, they use it to foam up products. So they also are detrimental to the skin. They affect the skin barrier. They dry the skin out. Yes, they foam, but why are you foaming? And they don't really clean you. Because we have this logic that if the more you have a foam in your product, the more cleaner you are, but not really. So, and some of them also endocrine disruptors to some extent, but a lot of times SLS actually cause a lot of irritation and inflammation on the skin and can trigger inflammatory skin conditions.
Oh, got it. Yeah, when I was a hairstylist for 15 years before I became a practitioner, it was very common. People, when I would use a more natural, shampoo on them, and they're like, "But it doesn't suds up." I'm like, "Trust me, it's still getting your hair clean without all the garbage." So it really does take some like undoing of. We got to have the bubbles. We got to have the suds for it to get clean. I mean, I even went through a phase there where I was washing my face with coconut oil.
Yeah,
That doesn't suds up at all,
no,
but
no.
it cleans amazingly,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so yeah, so continue.
Yeah, so like you just said right now, coconut oil. So other than the products, I look at those products, and if you're able to make things at home. So currently, I can tell what I have in my bathroom is a Ayurvedic product called Codex. I use them on my face. Then of my skin, I make a little body butter, which is very simple to make. I just have shea butter. I add some jojoba oil sometimes. I add some castor oil. And sometimes if I have almond oil, whatever I have at home, I mix it all together, coconut oil, and I put it on my skin. So I go by what can I eat? If I can put it in my mouth, I can put it on my skin. Sometimes when I'm cooking and or I'm making something, I have olive oil in my hand, I just rub it on myself
Yeah,
because that's healthy for my inside, so it's healthy for my skin. And I use that as my barometer to kind of have an idea of what I'm doing. As I said again, there's sometimes where you can't find those things I just mentioned, then look for the best. Like as I said, I started with no paraben, then no sodium lauryl sulfate, no DMDM, no formaldehyde. I started looking at the cleaner products on the market when I needed to buy something.
absolutely. But what about that common misnomer? Oh my God, I'm putting these oils on my face, these thick, greasy oils. Isn't that going to make me break out?
Actually, it depends on the oil and it depends on the person. Some people are oil prone and some people are not. If you're oil prone, you definitely want to stay from things like coconut oil. For some people, that will break them out. Um, Jojoba oil seems to be very gentle. Grapeseed oil seems to be very gentle. I wouldn't palm oil. I'd be very careful with that on the face. So there's certain oils that what I call comedogenic. They tend to clog the pores. You stay from those, but not all oils actually are going to cause acne on your face.
Oh, well, good. Thank you for that distinguishing. Because, like I said, I'm still just in awe looking at your beautiful freaking skin right now.
Thank you.
I'm like, God. So yeah, I definitely would take, skin advice from someone who looks like you for sure.
Thank you.
So it's about that time of the show. I would love for you to, it's the, self-promotion. Where can people find out about you, your products, learn more?
So I am on Instagram and it's at Surura, Sururat, Skin Coach. That's my Instagram handle. And also I have a website, theholisticskincoach.com. That's my website. I'm on Google. You can find me there. And I help, as I said, I support women with struggling with skin, bloating, low energy. They've been told your labs are normal because I've been there. So the other thing I want to say is that no matter what you're going through with your skin issue, instead of thinking about what is it, what is the name, think about why. Why is my body trying to communicate? Or what is my body trying to say to me? And start asking the right questions. Now, what cream can I put on it to make it go away? But where is it coming from? Because your skin is the mirror to your health. It's trying to communicate. I call it sometimes the canary in the coal mine. It's trying to tell you something is not right. We need to change.
Absolutely.
And we,
Absolutely. Say it all the time, no matter how common a symptom may be, it is never normal. It is always your body's check engine light coming on saying, hey, there's something going on in here.
yes.
So thank you for that. Also, while you're at the show notes checking her out, make sure to visit wearenikki.com/podcast and enter in BioBeats for 10% off a Nikki. And because we love our customers so much, the way we show appreciation, we give away a free Nikki device plus a wellness set of frequency that includes a detox frequency that is super helpful. But it's a $598 value. So make sure to go to the show notes and enter. Good luck. And thank you for joining us. Have a healthy day.
I love Nikki.
Ha ha ha. That's awesome. I didn't
Yeah.
know. Wait. Your experience with the Nikki?
Yeah.
Shut up. Tell us a little bit about it.
So I actually got it from Cellco.
All right. I remember
And
seeing you at Cellcore.
yeah, and I've been dealing with some inflammatory issues again, because I'm still going through my own health journey. And I use it for the inflammation part, especially.
Oh, yeah. And they came out with a new vagus nerve frequency that I'm really loving
I
because
saw that.
getting out of that fight or flight, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
incredible.
So I
So
do use
love that.
inflammation. I use the focus. I use the emotional sometimes, but a lot of times the inflammation.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I like using it. When I saw yours, I was like, "Where's mine? Mine is upstairs," because
Yeah.
it's charging.
Yep, I know. At one point I had two, so that way when I had one charging, I had the other one on, but then one, after a while it died, and so I've still got the one, but I love it. I don't leave home without it. So, yay, I'm so glad that you're a Nikki user and that you love it.
I am.
So, all right, well now we'll actually close this up. But yeah, that was new information to me. I'm like, wait, you know Nikki? Wow, that's incredible. Well, thank you so much for your time, my
No,
dear.
thank you. I
Great to get
appreciate
to know
you.
you. Yeah.
Nice thing. Good to see you. See you
Have
around.
a healthy
Take care.
day.
Bye.
Nikki Wellness Technology. Delivering frequency enhanced health.
It looks like a little watch, but it's actually a frequency device. It's bioenergetic, so it has this little frequency light situation that goes into your arm.
This is my Nikki. It is a bioenergetic wearable that works by emitting a specific frequency carried by a red light, as you can see on the back. It's aimed at enhancing the body's natural healing process to improve wellness and reducing stress, pain, and inflammation. And to select a frequency, you tap it to wake it up, and then you slide to the screens that list the different frequencies. I have wellness or Lyme on mine. So if we want to pick one, we just tap on it, and you'll see the circles around, and there's a play button, play areas, tap there, and you can see the colors radiating that show that it's playing, and you would also see the red light on the back. And to stop, you just tap it again, and then you can slide and select a different frequency. I'm going to play afternoon, and you just tap, and away you go for your afternoon.
So they're two different things. You have the Nikki device, and then you have the frequency sets. And so right now they have the wellness set of frequencies and they have the Lyme set of frequencies, and both of them are absolutely incredible. I use both sets on a regular basis, so I absolutely love them.
Nikki Wellness Technology. Delivering frequency enhanced health. wearenikki.com. Information and opinions expressed in this content are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of Freemedica. Freemedica Technologies, Inc. and its employees are not responsible, nor verifies accuracy any of the information contained in the following content. The primary purpose of this content is to educate and inform. This content does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services.